Songs and Sit-Downs, featuring Owen Dara. And now, Owen Dara.
Good evening, and welcome to Songs and Sit-Downs. Thank you so much for joining us on this, our 17th show in the series. We've just had an entire week of blistering heat, at least in this part of the world, which I'm sure has been really hard to handle for a lot of people, especially when we're required to wear face masks nearly everywhere we go. But it is for the greater good, and as uncomfortable as wearing a mask might be, we have to acknowledge that doing so provides us with some distinct advantages. I'm not just talking about protection of our health. For example, never in the history of the world has there been a better time to become a ventriloquist. Absolutely no talent required. It's like back in the days when wannabe pop stars were first given access to autotune. This, my friends, is an entertainment hack. Entertainment hack 101 for dummies. Literally, for dummies. And if you'd like to explore the concept of dummies a little further, be sure to check out the Republican National Convention, which is happening as we speak. But please, don't check it out just yet, because we need you here with us to share in this great show that we have lined up for you. And before we begin, why don't we say a quick hello to our fearless leaders at Divine Rebel Music, people who help us make this show great, as they're working hard behind the scenes, out there in Van Nuys, Dolly and JJ, who actually are in control of cutting to themselves, so they're kind of holding off.
I was looking for my glasses without my glasses. So.
Oh, you weren't able to do it without your glasses. Okay. Well,
how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Good. I mean, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We're happy to have this hour, to be entertained by you and some music and some interesting people. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Good. If you get a little closer to the mic, actually, I might hear you a little better. So what's going on? As always, we ask people to look at our YouTube channels and potentially subscribe if they wouldn't mind, and that's going to help us reach our goal of 1,000. So
when you think about it, 1,000 is not that many, right? So, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would be so grateful.
Right, and I'm sure that would be all very interesting, Dolly, if I could hear you, but I can't. You need to get a little closer to the mic, or I need to turn my volume up a little, maybe.
Do you want me to eat it?
Oh, I can hear you very well there.
I don't know what to do. All right. So, yes, folks, if you have not subscribed yet to our YouTube channels, please do so. I'm going to go ahead and put the links in the comments to make it as easy as possible for you. So it would be youtube.com, Divine Rebel Music, and also youtube.com, Owen Dara. So I'm going to do that now. And again, like every single subscription helps, you guys. So, it's power in numbers. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the comments.
Great. Thank you so much, Dolly, and thank you, JJ. And of course, always at this point, we mention the tip jar.
That's right.
Because we created the show Songs and Sit-Downs in part as a means to fill the deficit created by the lack of live work available to artists as a result of COVID-19, which of course I'm sure we've all heard about at this point. And as most of you know, we have a hard-working team who also happens to be artists themselves. You're kind of looking at them right here. Affected by the ongoing closure of music venues. And as we always say, we're delighted to have you with us, but if you so choose to put something in the tip jar, and if it's within your means, we're totally fine with that, and we do very much appreciate it.
Yes,
but most of all, we
much.
appreciate people tuning in and being with us this evening.
That's right. Yes, we do. So I'm also going to put the PayPal links in the comments. So hopefully
Great.
That helps make it.
Thank you, of course. And tips, of course, are shared with our musical artists. We should also say that. So they do help our musical artists. And we have some upcoming shows that I guess we should talk about. I want to thank you guys, unless there are any other announcements.
No, that's it. So we'll
Great.
see you guys later.
Well, we will see you guys later. Thank you so much. So, upcoming shows, and we do this every week because we really are a music based program and we do support musicians, and we like to read the gig guide of shows coming up, live shows in and around the Los Angeles area and beyond. And that's it. My friends, ladies and gentlemen, and non gender specific humans, as we say these days. Um, there are none. And if you've tuned in for the first time, you might laugh at that joke. But we've been doing it now 17 times. That's the 17th time we've done that joke with the same piece of paper. And we will keep doing it until such time as live shows come back. But in the meantime, we have upcoming live Facebook shows. And we will be telling you a bit about those later on. And we also want to mention a sponsor we have called Irish Arts and Entertainment. And they've been helping us promote our show, sharing it on their network. And talking about what we've been doing here on Songs and Sit Downs. And they're offering a reduced rate subscription and other benefits to our viewers for just $20 a year. It's pretty amazing. $12 if you're a student or a senior. And if you subscribe by September 10th, you can win a $50 gift certificate. And that would be from the Irish Import Shop. And there's actually free delivery. And there's some great things that you can get from there. So it's worth checking it out. The information will also be in the comments, how you can subscribe to them, how you can check them out, and we thank them very much for their ongoing support of Songs and Sit Downs. Tonight we have some fantastic guests joining us on the show. In just a little while we'll be going all the way to Lake Tahoe to meet Elle Sompres. She is a professional speaker, a life coach, and a voiceover actor who has for the past 3.5 years been living a nomadic lifestyle, moving around the United States and even parts of Canada in a 35-foot RV. She has also recently, very unfortunately, faced a health challenge, which she'll be talking to us about, along with many other interesting and thankfully fortunate aspects of her life. And after that, we'll be meeting with our featured musical artist, Nikki O'Neill, an excellent guitarist and singer-songwriter. In fact, so excellent is her guitar playing skills that she was featured in the November 2019 issue of Guitar Player magazine. She's going to be chatting to us, performing some of her music live for us tonight right here on Songs and Sit Downs. And I promise you that she, as well as our first guest, Elle Sompres, is well worth hanging around for. So please do stay with us for that. But first, we're going to go to one of our favorite weekly segments, written and presented by the always positive, always entertaining Jessica Lancaster, who brings us the very best news stories, the very best good news stories here on Songs and Sit Downs every week. The kind of stories that make us feel better about ourselves and about the world, which is much needed medicine in these challenging times. I'm looking forward, as I'm sure you are, to discovering what she has in store for us this week. This is On the Upside with Jessica Lancaster.
Happy Monday, everyone. I have some good news for elephants in Kenya. The combination of interruptions in travel and periods of heavy rainfall have led to a recent elephant baby boom. 140 elephants were born in a single calving season. That's a record. The Kenya Wildlife Service reported on Wednesday that from 1989 to today, the elephant population has more than doubled. Not only are they booming, but they're having twins, which is very rare in elephants. Because, what's cuter than one baby elephant? Two baby elephants. Congratulations to all the elephant moms out there. And just so you know, I am completely available to babysit. It is my favorite animal. Some more good news on the wildlife front. After 150 years, 750 of the aptly named large blue butterflies have successfully emerged from their cocoons in southwest England. Pangeris orion, that's their name, was officially declared extinct in Britain in 1979. But efforts from private trusts and ecological associations created the world's largest and most successful insect conservation program in the world. And from 1984 to 2008, it saw a large return of Big Blue to 30 previously occupied and new breeding sites. So, yay! That just means that England's going to have all these pretty blue butterflies. Not only have they not been seen in 150 years, but they're very good for the ecosystem and they're laying eggs in the wild on their own. 103-year-old Dorothy Pollock of Muskegon, Michigan, went to AWOL custom tattooing with her granddaughter and became the oldest person the tattoo parlor had ever inked. She says she's just trying to cross off everything on her bucket list, and getting a tattoo is one of those things. The tattoo parlor did the artwork for free. It's a little frog. It's the cutest tattoo ever on the cutest little lady ever. After getting the tattoo, she decided to cross off another thing on her bucket list, riding on the back of a motorcycle. She says the key to living a long, successful, happy life is to keep very busy. So, Dolly, I think you're going to live a long and successful life. It is hot out there, like really hot. I hope everyone is keeping cool. I found a little girl who's keeping very cool by watering her plants in the rain, as only a child would do. Enjoy. Okay, you guys, that's it for me. Have a great week. I will see you next time. If you have any good news to share, please send it our way and we will share all that love. Bye. Stay cool.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Always delightful to see your segment every single week, and we look forward to a new edition of On the Upside next Monday night, right here on Songs and Sit-Downs. And now to our first guest of the evening, Elle Sompres, who at the beginning of her career worked for a decade in radio, a great choice for somebody who is not only a music lover, but also a singer. Her time on the airwaves led her into the world of voiceover, which is a field that she's still active in to this day. In fact, I'm pretty sure we've all heard her lilting and reassuring voice on at least a couple of radio and or internet campaigns over the years. She's someone who has always been open to taking risks and to going after what she wants in life. And in keeping with this, back in 2004, she took a leap to become a professional speaker and coach, and is now running her own business in that field. In 2007, she left her native Ohio, and although she now calls Southern California home, she has for the last 3.5 years lived a nomadic lifestyle, residing in a 35-foot RV with her partner Blake and their adorable dog Mr. Pete's. So far, they have lived in and or visited over 30 states in the US and also parts of Canada. They always make a point of enjoying as many national parks as possible along the way. What a wonderful way to live your life. We're absolutely delighted to have her with us on the show tonight. Please welcome Elle Sompres.
Anything?
Hi there.
Elle.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. As I said, you have this
Awesome.
reassuring, you have this smooth and reassuring voice, all those years in radio and voiceover. Are you still doing voiceover work?
I do. I haven't recently, as we kind of talked about, due to COVID, but with my experience, which we'll be speaking about. But yeah, I've done voiceover well over 20 years and really
Wow.
enjoy it. It's always fun.
Oh, I've come across
But
a couple of your campaigns. If people are curious, they should check out Pandora. That's one of the ones you're a voice for Pandora, right? Not the radio, but the jewelry.
Right.
Yeah. And so you're in Lake Tahoe right now. Did they have fires there recently? Is that still going on?
Yeah, the fires aren't right here, but we are having some smoky residual effects.
I see.
Yeah.
And so are you able to go outside?
A little bit, but honestly, I am concerned about the air quality. So
Yes.
we stay indoors more than we would like to be. I mean, obviously, the point of coming to Lake Tahoe was to enjoy the beautiful lake and the mountains and the hike, but it's just not happening. We took a little drive around the lake the other day. You can kind of see, but you really can't see the mountains off in the distance. You can't really
Well,
see the scenery the way you should.
It is strange times for everybody, and particularly you, and we want to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But first, I just want to go back to your early career when you started in radio. Was it your love of music that attracted you to that, or was it the fact that you
Yeah.
had this beautiful, smooth voice you wanted to share?
It's funny is I originally wanted to be on air was what I wanted to do in radio. So I started kind of just exploring with internships and played with things. But then honestly, I didn't want to have to work the midnight, to 5 a.m. shift in some really small market to get started, which is generally, you have to love it enough to be willing to do that. So But once I was in the radio station, I learned so much more about other things. And it was actually, they got me into sales, which I was completely opposed to. I interned in promotions for a while. But as people got to know me, they were like, "You're so outgoing and you're so personable. You should be." I was like, "I'm not going to be in sales," but it worked out, and it was a really great career. But that is where I started my voiceover work as well.
And I'm sure that has really helped you too with your career as a speaker and a coach. I mean, that
Definitely.
personability
Very much
that you
so.
have, and I would imagine dealing with all those people over the years. Now, what brought you into the area of being a coach and a speaker?
Well, interestingly enough, I have a very soft spot in my heart for kids. So I was actually working with some kind of underprivileged children. And one of the coordinators of this volunteer program I was doing, she said, "What else do you want to do?" And I said, "I've always been interested in speaking." And she said, "I think the kids would barely be interested in what you do. We could get you speaking at some schools, and you work in rock and roll radio. Of course, they're going to think that's awesome. Maybe you could tie in an anti-drug, stay off drugs, stay in school, kids, but follow your passion." And that's how it got started. And I fell in love with like impacting people on that personal level, being able to really inspire and lift people up and help them believe in themselves and all of that.
Wow, that's great. And of course, the workshops, I mean, obviously you're not doing them live at the moment, unfortunately, but
No.
you're still actually doing some work online.
Yes, yeah, I held some Zoom workshops. It's very different than, for instance, what you're seeing there, where I'm live and in front of a group and getting a different level of interactivity. But I think we're having fun with it. We're making the best of it, just like everybody out there. And
Yeah,
it
and
works.
and
It's going
and
well.
one of the things that you help people with is memory. Now, this is something that me personally, actually, I should take this course too, because you know things just pop out of my head, and I saw on your website, that you can help people when they struggle to remember things like names or dates or just general details of their day-to-day life. How do you go about, first of all, how did you learn these skills?
Yeah, so after I started speaking at kind of was more inner city schools and then some colleges and expanded, I actually started working for a national company, and they
Hmm.
trained me on the memory training. They had, I think Merge bought out the Memory Training Institute. And
Hmm.
it was very applicable to me because I had almost died of a brain injury, and I had always been very interested in the brain and keeping my brain health good because
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
want to ward off anything. And so the more I studied like psychology and neuroscience and really the working of the brain, it was a very natural fit. They
Hmm.
trained me. I worked with that company for almost 5 years and really perfected, I don't want to say perfected, but improved my
Hmm.
art of speaking and that type of thing, to where they were able to give me feedback and help me grow and understand how to really work with a group from stage and how to get those things booked and just the whole workings of a public speaking career. So
Right, and I assume you fully recovered from the brain injury.
I did, yes. It took a
Wow,
few
good.
years. I was on medications and
Wow.
phenobarbital, which is a very, very strong medication that I came to realize later in life. And they would do, do the EEGs. I think
Yeah.
I have to ask my mom. It was every so many months, 6 months, 12 months. I don't know. But yeah,
Wow,
took
and
time.
what a great way to combat your brain injuries, just become like make memory your superpower.
Yeah.
Al- Although you have multiple superpowers. Now, the other thing with your memory workshop, um, you you have developed these skills through learning this, but your memory has, and I don't know if you know that I know this, but you appeared on one of those shows where you had to remember the lyrics to songs.
Yeah.
What was that called?
So long ago. Oh, let me think. Do I remember? No, don't
Ah,
forget the lyrics. Yeah.
don't forget the lyrics. Was that with Wayne Brady?
No, it was actually Mark McGrath when I was on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you able to excel on that show due to the skills that you'd learned from memory, or have you always had a knack through your love of music for lyrics?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I would say more. Always just had a knack.
Uh-huh.
I was an education major in college for a bit before I knew exactly what I was settling into. And
Mm-hmm.
I would always say, I think we should teach kids through song. People
Mm-hmm.
remember lyrics so much more. My sister and I used to always play. Did you ever hear of a game called Songburst?
I did not.
super fun game, but it was like you had to finish the lyrics. And we used to always play that game. It was like a board game back in the day. So I just had fun with it. And really, there was no way, unfortunately, to use my memory skills because I had no idea what song they were about to throw at me. But I think this is what I say to people a lot when it comes to the memory skills I teach. It strengthens your brain and it strengthens those synapses. And so it actually does allow you to function more effectively. Your brain, it keeps your brain strong. It keeps your brain healthy. So it's not just about being able to do the presentations without notes or remember the names or the lists of information, which are all helpful. It's also about your brain health.
Wow. Okay. And also the side effects, of course, of this too is reduced stress.
Yes.
You know, you're actually able to organize yourself better and become more effective. Yeah, these are all very positive things. I like it. Now, we spoke, I said a moment ago that your superpower was, your memory, but also you have empathy and compassion. That is something that you've always had, or is this something that you've developed over time?
I would say probably pretty natural, but has continued to develop over time. I was a very sensitive, caring child, all the way back. And I remember even in high school, my mom saying to me, you don't have to take on the weight of the world. You don't have to take on everybody else's problems. But it's why I'm a good coach, because I genuinely care about people. What I had to learn as I, matured and got older was how to be there and support and care about what other people are going through without it completely just taking me down, because I am such a natural empath that it can affect me very deeply.
Well, yeah, that would be the danger of it, of course. Like if you're in that field and you're an empath, you are really open to taking on a lot and being adversely affected by it. Now, let's talk a little bit about your travel, because I admire this so much. And, it's been one of those things in the back of my mind is I'd always loved to, to get a tiny house or like an RV and just like take off and live this lifestyle. What inspired you to just decide after all these years of, living in Southern California and then suddenly just deciding, let's just get on the road and live this nomadic lifestyle? What was the inspiration?
Yeah, it had always, well, I don't want to say always, but for quite some time interested me. But I had never stepped in an RV before.
Wow.
I knew nothing about the lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought it sounded fun. I'm a very free spirit. I'm somebody who does really like to try different things, go different places. And so
there it is. Wow.
there it is. That's our truck and RV. That's our fifth wheeler, as they call it. But I started bringing it up to Blake. He thought it was absolutely insane. He's like, I'm not living in a trailer, because it brings on this connotation of trailer trash, which we are not. And we were just kind of I was like, but think about it. There's all these great places around the country that we may not want to live in forever, but what if we lived there for 2 months or 3 months or 4 weeks or, and then other places we could just stroll through for a week and, and he kind of, the idea grew on him. And then we started looking at RVs and realizing really how nice they can be, and how we could make it comfortable and make it our own and make it our home. And just the adventures it's brought has been fantastic.
Wow. And now it's been 3.5 years. And look at that landscape. I mean, who would not want to do that?
That's Crater Lake in Oregon, which is stunning.
Oh, wow. So now it's been 3.5 years. Is there any hope of an end in sight? Or is this going to be the rest of your lives?
Yeah, I mean, that changes from time to time. I mean, we both love it so much that we're like, I don't know, I'm not ready to stop. And we keep saying we want to keep going. That's Glacier Park. I mean, we've been all over the country and through Canada, as you had said, and it's hard to stop. It's addictive. We get to, because we're not just in most of these places for just a week, which is what we love. We really get to immerse ourselves, get to know people, get to really experience the cities and the areas in a different capacity. And that's infectious. So I don't know. I mean, we always say we doubt it'll be forever. There are some obvious benefits to being in one place too. We kind of miss those longevity of friendships and things like that, and just continuity and having a backyard and those kind of things, being able to, but we always say our backyard changes all the time, and that's exciting too.
Wow, it's wonderful. And you've been able to keep up your professional lives also while doing this traveling.
Yeah. That's been the beauty of it is, I've been able to expand the training and take my speaking and coaching to a much broader audience in terms of, because I've always, until now, marketed myself more through my live speaking engagements. So being able to expose myself to more people than just where I lived or having to fly and be gone all the time. I was never attracted to that concept. I wanted to be able to, I love being able to have my family, which consists of me, Blake, and Petey, or Mr. Pete's, which I love to call him because that's what we always call him. But to have my family with me, like I always would say, even just when it was me and my other dog who's since passed, I'd be like, I don't want to leave my dog all the time and be gone.
Yeah.
I'm an animal lover. I want to be with my loved ones. So
yeah. Well, and I guess that's the joy of being in an RV too. Wherever you go, your home is right there. You step out the door, and it's a different backyard, as you said, and then you go home and it's the same home. It's all the same inside. And if you're with the same person and the same dog, that's home. It's a very attractive lifestyle, Elle. I think you're inspiring me. I'm gonna have to talk with Jessica about the possibility of this. We may see you on the road out there one of these days.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it be amazing? Now, of course, we have to get to the challenge that you've had, which began this year in March, and it's astounding to me that you are still dealing with symptoms of COVID-19 in your 5th month.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? First of all, the onset. How did it affect you in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the very beginning, I had a sudden runny nose. I'm talking like a faucet came on out of nowhere, something I'd never experienced, and a sore throat. And I felt fatigue. But honestly, this was back in like mid-March, and I thought it's probably allergies. They weren't really, they were saying you had to be really short of breath. You had to have a fever. You had to have a cough, And so I honestly brushed it off. It passed in a few days. And then a few days later, I had extreme stomach pain, nausea, and then major diarrhea. Sorry for the grossness, but and I was laid out for days and days and days. But at that point, they were still not saying that was a COVID symptom. So I did not think I had COVID. I thought I had a stomach flu, and and so as it progressed, that started to fade out, and the fever started rising. But my first thought, now again, you can see where I can be a bad patient. I was like, well, I probably have a fever because I'm dehydrated now from the stomach flu. And still was kind of just trying to write it out. Well, then I started getting chest pain. Then I started getting short of breath. Then I started getting, my heart was racing terribly and spiking in my heart rate. I was like, started questioning. And that was when I started doing virtual visits because that's all they would let you do and so on. And then I went into multiple CAT scans and x-rays and EKGs and everything to make sure I was okay.
And then, of course, after they diagnosed you with it, and here's a shot. Are we seeing a rash here on your neck?
Yeah, so what that was, it happened, it would come and go. But I've had a lot of weird circulatory issues. That redness that you see on my neck came up on my heel, and I lost complete feeling in my leg at one point. I've lost feeling in my hands. That's the redness on my heel. So it's a circulatory thing.
Wow. And will you look at this photo? And okay, this is a more recent one, I assume, of you smiling and looking down. Okay. And how long ago was this other one taken? This one where you look deathly ill? Yeah,
that was about 2 months in. And I was so frustrated. The picture kind of makes me laugh, but I was actually taking a picture of my eyes because they were looking so, I have circles in general, but not like that. And I was so pale, and and I kind of just looked at myself and I made that face. It was sort of a natural picture, but I did not look well at times, and other times and then my color, you can see it came back. And
thankfully it seems like you're on the mend. Are you're coming out of this now? Do you feel, are the symptoms as prevalent at certain times, or are they almost gone?
So here's the weird thing about what they have dubbed it as long haul COVID. So there are a lot of us, for those of you who may not have heard of it, I'm not an outlier. I'm not like this rare person. Not everybody's affected this way, but there are a lot of us that are long haulers. And what will happen is you will start to think you're getting better. You don't feel all the way better, but things start to subside. And then they come back over like a wave, knock you down. New symptoms come in, old symptoms come back, things cycle around. It just goes up and down and up and down and up and down. I will say at this point, even the waves when they hit are not as severe.
Good.
But they are still not fun.
Wow. Wow, it's crazy. And so it's, as you said, it's not an unusual thing, particularly to have somebody who's in it for the long haul or has been in it. They're calling the long haulers now, as you said.
Yeah.
And of course, it was a new thing. Like if you said you got it mid-March, I mean, that was the time when most of us just became aware of it. There was just a few known cases in the country at that point. And so obviously there were a lot more than we were aware of.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, and they started finding out that GI issues were either the onset for some people or sometimes came after, but it's a very common symptom now and has been added by the CDC. But at the beginning, they didn't even realize that was a symptom. So they're learning as we go.
Well, I have to say you're looking very well, Elle, right now.
Thank you.
Whatever you may be feeling, you look very healthy, and I hope you're starting to feel that way too, and that it'll improve as time goes on. I'm wondering what you might say to the anti-maskers out there.
Yeah, here's the thing is I realize that some people just haven't had a personal experience with it. And by that, I mean, even anyone close to them. And that's one of the most common things you hear is, well, I don't know anybody who's been sick. Yeah. Or, well, I was sick and I was fine after a few days or the 2 weeks or whatever, the regular kind of, you get sick, you get better. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who are dying. It's not a hoax. And there are a lot of people that are surviving that are having these long-term effects. And for many people, it has been confirmed that they have permanent damage. Oh. I don't know that yet. I'm hoping mine is still temporary. There's many of us that are still hoping it will pass completely. Mm-hmm. Some people have already found out it's not. So in terms of wearing a mask, it's just a simple thing to do, not only, to protect yourself, but to protect others. And that's the real key. But the thing is, if I'm wearing a mask and you're wearing a mask and we're protecting each other, we're both protected. Mm-hmm. And so it's bringing your possibility and even your viral load down. So even if, say, you wore a mask but you got sick, mm-hmm. it may decrease your viral load, which would mean you may not get as ill. You may not end up a long hauler. You may not end up in the hospital. You may not end up dying.
Wow, interesting. So you could actually, even if you did catch something, it may not be as severe.
That's what they're believing. So yeah.
Yeah, and of course, as you say, like this is a new thing that they're discovering. They're just learning as they go. And Elle, thank you so much for chatting with us tonight. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your time. And you've had such an interesting journey and such an interesting career. And thank you for sharing with us, such personal details of the challenges you've been facing. And of course, we wish you well, and we hope to check back in with you soon. And we hope there'll be a full, clean bill of health.
Yes,
and
me too.
We'll get you to come on, and we'll get you to sing some of those "Don't Forget the Lyric" songs like you did on TV.
That'll be fun.
Okay. Well, we wish you so well in your travels, and thank you so much, Elle. Hopefully, we'll chat to you again soon.
Thank you for having me, Ellen. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure is ours. Thank you so much, Elle Sompres. So great chatting with you, learning about your professional and your personal life. And if you want to know more about Elle, you can check her out on her Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Elle Sompres. And keep an eye out for her website. It's currently under construction, but soon you'll have all the updated information on Elle's professional services. And in the meantime, I'm sure you'll join me in wishing Elle a full and speedy recovery from COVID-19. It's been a long and challenging journey for her, heading into her 5th and hopefully final month of experiencing those awful symptoms that she was talking about. We very much hope that the harrowing experience will be behind her very, very soon. Now, coming up in a moment, we're going to go to our musical artist. But first, we should mention the tip jar. As we always say, if you can afford it and you want to contribute, that's great. And if not, we're more than happy to have you with us this evening. As you probably know by now, the proceeds of the tip jar go to everyone involved in putting up the show, and is also shared with our musical artist. And what a fine musical artist we have joining us tonight. Nikki O'Neill, who is an Americana singer, guitar player, and songwriter, deeply influenced by soul music. She's featured in the November 2019 issue of Guitar Player magazine, interviewed by blues artist Sue Foley. She also has a guitar lesson channel, Nikki O'Neill's Twang, Soul, and Rock and Roll. That's on truefire.com. She has performed at Americana Fest in Nashville and opened for Stax Artists Southern Avenue in Los Angeles. In 2018, her EP and 2 singles were played on Blues Americana radio stations in the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia. Nikki's recordings have also received positive reviews in Roots Music Press in countries like the UK, and Sweden. Sweden! Wow. What a great place to be recognized. We hear a lot about Sweden now when they talk about socialism and healthcare and all those great things that are going on over there that so many people seem to be so scared of. Nikki's second solo album, World Is Waiting, will be released through Blackbird record label on October 16, 2020, which I believe also happens to be her birthday. During non-lockdown times, Nikki performs actively with her band, currently featuring bassist Rob Fresco and drummer Rich Lakowski. In fact, I believe Rich, who also happens to double as Nikki's husband, very multi-talented, will be joining us tonight as well. Before we meet them, we'd like to show you a clip of Nikki doing what she does best. And even though it's a short clip, as I'm sure you'll agree, it's more than enough to prove her worthiness of having been featured in Guitar Player magazine this past November. This is Nikki O'Neill.
3, 4.
Wonderful. Please welcome Nikki O'Neill.
Hello.
Well, hi, Nikki, and hi, Rich.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Well,
We're doing good.
Excellent. You know, I love the purple background, and I was a little confused by the background in that video, because you had a drum kit that seemed off to the side that was on some sort of an island or something. What is going on in your house?
We're currently up in the loft area of our apartment, and Rich's old drum kit used to be up on this ledge. But he actually sold it the other day, so it was just like plain white, and we thought, well, we got to do something, like fancify this space a little.
It served no function whatsoever. It's just a 2-foot ledge in the middle of our living room, and I thought a drum kit will fit up there perfectly.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought you got relegated up there or something for playing too loudly in the house or something. Nikki's like, let's put them up there where you can't reach them.
No, I love drums. But I did tell him you got to chain them, because if people come over, last thing I want to do is get killed by a hi-hat stand on my head.
Yes, that's right. Well, a hi-hat, a cymbal, or a snare. God forbid a snare hits you. If you get killed by a snare, it's over. The rest of your eternity.
Yeah.
So are you guys playing a lot at home?
Starting to. I've been using this time to practice, because when you're playing a lot of shows, it feels like you never have time to practice. You're just trying to keep up with gigs, and so the personal pursuit of improving your guitar playing or something like that, it can be hard to find the time. And with COVID, I've been really fortunate that I've been able to work from home and practice.
Yeah, and it is great. I know a lot of musicians are sort of upping their game. But we'll go back to doing live shows, and then everybody that we've known, like as as you know, good average to good players will just be like genius level when we all go back to going live.
Cannot wait to play again in a real club with real people and a real band, you know, all in the same.
Because that's the thing. You can practice all you want on your own. You can sit with a drum machine
Yeah.
and play to jam tracks. There's like a gazillion of those on YouTube, but there's that really important aspect of playing with other people and listening and responding, and that's missing. So
I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean, that's the thing that I think all musicians are missing that now at this point. But at least you guys have each other, and you can jam together. You know, if Rich can get, you know, the drums down off the island there that you've banished. And so I mentioned Sweden. You've had some coverage in Sweden also, and some airplay. So Nikki, did you grow up in Sweden?
I did. My mom remarried. The second husband was a Swedish guy. So when I was 7 years old, we moved to Stockholm, and I was there. So if sometimes people detect an accent and they think I'm Canadian, but it's just a faint remnant of Swedish. If I try to put the full-on Swedish accent, that would be much heavier. So it's really
I didn't pick up on the accent at all, but I did read your bio, and I was like, you know, okay, first of all, you have an Irish last name. You grew up in Sweden, and half your family's Polish, and
it's confusing. It's really
confusing. So do you speak those other languages too? I mean, you must speak Swedish.
I speak Swedish probably better than English. Just because when you're young, it's like fertile ground. You learn all your vocabulary and slang and all that stuff. So so Swedish, English, and I lived with my mom and my grandmother. My grandmother couldn't speak much English or Swedish, so I spoke Polish at home. But my Polish is kind of crappy. It's not good grammar, but I can kind of keep a decent conversation.
Yeah, we won't know the difference, you know, honestly. You can use all the bad grammar you want. Do you ever write songs in other languages other than English?
No, I think I was always drawn to English as the like rock and pop language, even when I lived in Sweden, although there was a big movement there where you're like, you're supposed to write in Swedish. I maybe tried a little bit, like just some songs as for fun, like for a school project or something like that. But otherwise, it's been English.
Yeah, because I guess I know that in certain, I mean, in Ireland there was a big movement too to bring back Gaelic and write more things in Gaelic, and you know, TV shows were in Gaelic and all this sort of stuff to you know, have our own language surface. But I know that a lot of Scandinavian bands, a lot of Scandinavian artists that I come across, they write lyrics in English, and they write, a lot of them write very well in English, because I guess the level of language over there in English learning is very, very high.
Yeah, compared to many other European countries, like I know Italy or France, they're much more, you know, hold on to their culture and their language. But Sweden has always had a strong Anglo-Saxon influence. They've always been interested in British and American pop culture and things like that. So they learn English in third grade. So that's fairly early compared to other countries, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So now your songs, you have this EP out from a few years ago, and you've got a new one coming out in October. And was I right in saying that it's coming out on your birthday?
It is, yeah. And
now here's a question: which of your birthdays is it coming out on?
we actually have the same birthday, October 16. So it's both of our birthdays. Yeah.
Do you guys just love that about your relationship?
Yeah, it's great. It's the ultimate excuse to, you know, go all out on our birthdays. So
yeah, we'll wake up in the morning and, you know, jokingly I'll sing happy birthday to us.
Oh, that's great. You know, I mean, I asked that question and I say, do you just love that? Because I'm in a relationship with Jessica, who, you know, we saw earlier on the Upside. Yeah. And we have the same birthday. And so it's the most joyous thing for somebody who, you know, never really cared too much about birthdays. Now I care a lot more and I enjoy my birthday a lot more. So You know, I think anybody who's in a relationship with somebody who doesn't have the same birthday should just break up with them, find somebody who has the same birthday, because it really is fantastic.
Well, I remember when we were, because I was living in New York, and then I came over to this music trade show called NAMM, which it's a big, like, you know, for all the instrument manufacturing, like all the music companies go
Yeah.
to Anaheim, and there's this big, you know, show called NAMM. And so I went over there and was introduced to Rich. And you know, it immediately felt a connection. And then during the 6 months that were, you know, after that, we were trying to get to know each other. So we were racking up our phone bills, a lot of phone calls. And during one of those phone conversations, he asked, like, when's your birthday? And yeah.
And she said, "Oh, it's in the fall." And I said, "Oh, what month? October? What? Really? What day? October 16th." And we were both kind of blown away.
Yeah. And it felt like it was so comfortable and so easy to talk to him. It was some, like, just strangely familiar feeling. You just, like, feel like you can really be yourself, and very harmonious kind of vibe. And so knowing that we had the same birthday, that just felt like that's even more evidence that, wow.
Yeah, wow, that's wonderful. And now you said you were racking up the phone bill. So at that point, were you living back in Sweden, Nikki?
No, I was in New York City at the time.
Ah, you said you'd come out from New York, so it was basically cross country. Because I wondered, moving out here now, you have a song, Where Luck Can Find Me. One of those songs, or it's a lyric in one of your songs. It's a sort of fatalistic thing, a place where luck can find you, fortune favors the bold.
Yeah.
Is this related to your chasing your dream as a singer-songwriter, guitarist?
A little bit. I mean, I didn't write the lyric. It's I write a lot of my songs, not all of them, but many of them with Paul Menser. We met at songwriting workshop with it was hosted by Louise Goffin. And he lives in Idaho, and, you know, we're in Los Angeles. And there was a song, and I had this title idea. It's Where Luck Can Find Me, because I remember talking to somebody who believed in that there are lucky places, but they're not necessarily lucky for everybody. Like, for instance, Los Angeles. A lot of people are drawn to it, hoping that, you know, that'll be a lucky place for them, and it's not necessarily the case. And then they move, and suddenly everything starts to flow, and it's not such an uphill climb. So I was interested in that theme. I thought that would be a cool thing to, you know, write about.
Yeah, and I'd never heard it put that way before. I was listening to the song and I was like, oh, you got to go where luck can find me. It's not just about being lucky, it's putting the place where luck can find you. Which is interesting. Now, speaking of going to places, you guys, and I love this story. So you went off to Memphis, Tennessee to record. Now, first of all, okay, so take me through the story, because I've only heard a little bit about this, and I'd like to know how it all came about. You first of all went to Al Green's church.
Yes.
So you're an Al Green fan, I assume. I listened to you know.
Yeah. I grew up, my mom, she would play Al Green records, and she had Stevie Wonder songs in the key of life. And I would, you know, look at these vinyl records when I was like 6 years old and be so fascinated by them. And the sound of Al Green's music, the drums, the rhythm section, it just, I thought this is like the best thing ever. And I still do. Yeah. So when we got the invitation to play at like an after party at Americana Fest, then I thought, well, Americana Fest is in Nashville. Memphis is like, that's my dream to go there. We have to go. And so, yeah, so we, you know, got a bed and breakfast, got tickets, went out to Memphis, and I booked a session at Royal Studios. And, you know, I wasn't going to bring the band. I couldn't afford that. So I was just going to, you know, bring an acoustic guitar. And then Rich came with me. And, we started by going to Al Green's church, which is called the Full Gospel Tabernacle. And I knew that he has a tendency to preach for a very long time. So, and so we're sitting there in the pews, and Al Green is just going passionate, like preaching, and the band is killing it. They're amazing.
Wow.
These singers that, like, this one woman sounded like this blues. I mean, she was just such a great blues singer. And it was amazing. There was like 2.5 hours go by, and I'm like texting Boo Mitchell, who's the owner of Royal Studios and son of a legendary producer, Willie Mitchell, who produced Al Green and Ann Peebles and did all these classic albums. So I'm texting like, Boo, we're still here at the church. He's like, that's cool. No, don't worry about it. We know.
We know. Once you get into that church, there's no getting out, right?
Yeah. So then finally the service is over, but I mean, it was amazing.
That 2.5 hours, it sounds like a long time, but it flew by. It was
Wow.
so good.
Yeah. And we're not particularly religious. I mean, yeah, not religious, but the music was so amazing. And it was cool to see Al in this is his natural environment. It's more that than being the soul music star. So anyway, so after 2.5 hours, I walk up to introduce, just say hi to the band. And I told the organ player that we have to go to Royal Studios because we got a recording session. So he offered to drive us there.
Wow, that is so cool. So you got Al Green's keyboard player to drive you to the session.
Yeah, and so he's telling stories about Al and the way he conducts bands and
wow,
perfect pitch and all these fun stories. And then we get to Royal Studios and it's closed, so we're waiting for Boo to show up, and he doesn't take that long. He shows up and is a little flustered. He's like, I just got to open up the studio, so come on in. So he unlocks it and we walk in. It's pitch black. And he starts turning on the lights. And as the first light comes on, it's like a time machine. You're transported to 1974. There's wooden panels. There's shag carpets in fire colors, red, orange, and yellow on the wall.
Wow.
And then all these like gold records with Al Green. And he's got these like tight white pants with like flower embroideries, fantastic pants. And there are all these posters and we walk through the whole studio and it's like nothing has changed. And,
wow, and you actually got to record a track there.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Well, we could talk for hours, but I think the people want to hear you play. So if you guys don't mind, maybe you could do like 3 songs, and then maybe we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit more.
For sure.
Sounds good.
Let's do a song. This one's out. This is going to be the title track from my previous album, which is called Love Will Lead You Home. And it goes something like this. 1, 2, 3. Time goes on like a mighty river. When your deal goes down, will you stand and deliver? Your life was a book. Tell me, what would it say? Would you show it to friends, or would you hide it away? Love will lead you home. Love will lead you home. Everyone lives with the choices they make. Here's the one that still haunts you, some awful mistake. Don't give up on yourself or who you really are. Find light in your soul and keep your eye on that star. 'Cause love will lead you home. Love will lead you home. It's waiting for you. Don't turn it away. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for you. is so short and we all struggle with fate. Do you say yes to love or are you tempted by hate? Cause we're all in the same dance, all the way to the end. So give your brother a chance and make your sister your friend. Cause love will lead you home. Love will lead you home. Don't you know that love will lead you home? Home, home. Don't you know that love will lead you home? Home, home. Don't you know that love will lead you? Love will lead you. 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 Okay. So that was Love Will Lead You Home. That's off of my earlier album. And you can find it, everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, my website, nikkyoneil.com. Now we're going to do 2 songs from the upcoming album, which is called World is Waiting. And World is Waiting, that title, so it has nothing to do with me. It's not like the world waiting for me. It's about the history of the U.S., the long and painful history of a lot of greed, suffering, racism, and the world is waiting for this story to stop. So that's what the title track is about. But the song that we're going to do is a different one. This is called You're the Only One Who Gets Me. And as I'm just going to check my tuning, because you have a capo, this thing that clamped on the guitar here, that sometimes you got to adjust your tuning a little bit. So this song, You're the Only One Who Gets Me, it's about somebody who's felt misunderstood all their life, miscast. It's like, this person isn't, weird or anything, maybe just an introvert, somebody who's thoughtful, but who gets misinterpreted. And, it's a wonderful thing when you finally meet somebody that you feel comfortable with and who really gets you. Then it's like you won the jackpot. So that's what this song is about. And here it goes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Found me at a party in a corner, uncorked with a label they misread. I finally to piano with the lick folded down. Gravity just pulling off my head. We thanked the scattered host and left her party and wandered through the city in the night. We saw a busking drummer down on Main Street and a poet read her stanzas by the light. We're digging through our pockets for $2. But for the poet, we had to make it fair. Over breakfast at the diner, we sat quiet without cringing, just taking in the peaceful morning air. It's good to feel free. No need to be on guard abroad. Some circle of protection, I can just breathe and be. You're the only one who gets me. My mother used to call me such a dreamer. She wondered why I live inside my head. When I went home from school, I found the answer to what happens in the fall when leaves turn red. You and I have lived through many seasons. We've grown up and mom ain't here no more. But you take me to the mountains each October just to spend one night on Crimson Forest floor. It's good to feel free. No need to be on guard or draw some circle of protection. I can just breathe and be. You're the only one who gets me. Walking home and hear somebody whistle. A man says, lady, where you going? You look fine. As the traffic drowns him out, he's still cussing in the distance. Some people spend a lifetime trying to figure out their open line. It's good to feel free. No need to be on guard or draw some circle of protection. I can just breathe and be. You're the only one who gets me. So good to feel free. Don't wanna be on guard, just make a meaningful connection. Found the key, only one who gets me. Got to do that rock and roll ending, even if it's just the two of us. So, yeah, Owen was talking about when we were in Memphis, when Rich and I went to Memphis to record at Royal Studios, where Al Green did his classic albums, and Peebles. If you guys know the song I Can't Stand the Rain, you know, Let's Stay Together with Al Green, Love and Happiness, all that amazing stuff was recorded there. So this is the song that Little Me recorded. I did it with my acoustic guitar, and it's on our new album, World is Waiting, which is coming out October 16. And the song is called Take Back What I Said. Before I even knew it, it was already done. Facing a reality from which I couldn't run. Now I sit and wonder why there isn't any way that I can take back what I said, get you back again. A careless word in anger, thoughtless as I was, I would not apologize. No reason, just because. When you shut down on me, then I wanted desperately to take back what I said, get you back again. I know I was tempting fate. Now I hope it's not too late to swallow all my pride. See, please don't send me on my way, 'cause there's no price that I won't pay to I'll do anything if it'll make you see I was wrong and made you cry. That's not really me. I can't change, I know it's true. And the least that I can do is take back what I said. Get you back again. Get you back again. Get you back again.
Thank you, Nikki. Beautiful. You know, it's not quite Royal Studios in Memphis, but still sounding good. So that song was the one you actually recorded at Royal Studios. Wow. Awesome. And I got to ask you, the previous song about, you know, finding the perfect person, I assume this is Rich that you wrote the song for?
And it's mixed with a lot of, you know, imaginary, extra stuff.
Okay. That's going to be some interesting pillow talk tonight. Sorry if I threw a spanner in the works there. Oh, Rich. Well, it's so good that you guys have each other and you have a band and you're all locked down together and you've had those great experiences, in spite of the fact that some of that song was imaginary.
I don't
Rich,
take any of it personally.
you have
a beautiful song, and I just sat back and listened like you. I love it. I love hearing her sing.
Well, and you get it up close and personal. That's good. Now, I have to ask you, Nikki, we had Freebo on the show a couple of months ago, and of course, he started off playing with Bonnie Raitt, and they played a decade together. And one of the things that he said during the interview was, if you want to upset Bonnie Raitt, you say to her, hey, you're a pretty good guitarist for a girl. Okay, first of all, derogatory to say a girl to a grown woman. Second of all, she just happens to be female, but she's a great guitarist. And I would say the same about you. Do you ever face that as a lead guitarist, which is pretty much a man's world? Do you ever face the fact that people draw attention to your gender?
It used to be that a lot more when I was younger. That I'd get funny comments from teachers or just you know, somebody at a show. Now it's pretty rare. I think the last time I heard something like that, I was teaching guitar and I was subbing for another guitar teacher. And I came out to meet the student, and he was an older guy. And I don't know if it's a generation thing. I don't want to, you know, generalize like that, but he was a little shocked that the sub was going to be a chick. And,
I guess. Well, I think
he was very happy with his lesson, but he was like, "Oh, I didn't know that, you know, girls were serious enough to like know about these things."
Wow. Well, I guess, you know, the saying, as they used to say, at least, that you had to work twice as hard to prove that you're half as good. That at least used to be the case. And I suppose when Bonnie Raitt started off in the 70s, there was far more sexism there back in those times. So, but that was one of the things that I think maybe, I don't think, hopefully she doesn't struggle with anymore, because, you know, she's made the top 100 guitar list in Rolling Stone, I believe, and, you know, a great guitarist in her own right. But that was the thing that he said, if you want to piss her off, because I guess she heard that quite a lot. Well, it's good to hear that that only happens on occasion these days. And speaking of your teaching, you have a channel on truefire.com, is that right?
Yeah, True Fire. So that's a website. It's a source for online education. There's a lot of great guitarists that have courses there, and who also have channels where they kind of decide, you know, pick their own content and post lessons every week, which is what I do, and then you subscribe to it. And my channel, it's I'm fairly new there, so it's very reasonable. It's $5 a month.
Wow.
And it caters to intermediate players and beginning players. So, and it's for, you know, if you're interested in the guitar styles that kind of come with rhythm and blues, some soul music, and a little bit of Americana, which is like, I mean, this big umbrella genre. So that's where the twang comes in.
Yeah, it's great, and what a great title. Twang, soul, and rock and roll. I mean, hey, it even rhymes, you know?
It does.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. And anybody who listens to, and I've been fortunate enough to actually hear some of what's going to be released in October, and some of the guitar playing where you play some of the lead on some of those songs is just phenomenal. So, you know,
I wanted, before you go further, so there's one song that I play lead on. It's the title track, World is Waiting. And then Joshua Passar, he was in our band, and then he moved from LA, but he's the one who plays the lead on the first song. And then he plays slide guitar on the second song, because I can't play slide. I tried, and it just sounds like a cat strangled, you know. So
well, I know. Well, as I said earlier, okay, there is. So the world is waiting, and
that's the cover.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed on that track, or maybe it was the other one where you were talking about, you know, that the world really, it is all of these horrible things that have happened, you know, I mean, greed and racism and all these things that are alluded to in this song, yet the guitar playing seems very relaxed, the guitar solo, which is, I think, is a really nice touch, you know.
Thank you. It's the message of the song is that, you know, the world is waiting for us to get out of this division and this like hatred. So it's you know, maybe like a plea to the better side of humanity.
Yeah.
And I didn't want muscular guitar tone. I tend to, like with my setup, I've had many different guitars in the past, and you know, effects pedals and things like that, but nowadays I go pretty au natural, so it's like a Telecaster, and the pickups, these things that create much of the sound, they're not very loud. They're kind of based on like a 60s R&B guitar kind of thing, which is what I love. And then I have a Fender amp, and so it's like just that's basically what I use. And maybe like, you know, wah pedal or something. I don't use a lot of effects. So I wanted the solo for the song to have a more human quality and not to be a guitar solo on steroids. And
yeah. Oh, for sure. And it has that effect because, I mean, you know, it's hard hitting with your lyrics and your message, but then you can really relax and enjoy. And then you have a little bit of B3 coming in. I guess you have some Hammond organ in there, which is sparse, but very, very effective. I mean, this is really, anybody who enjoys that style of music is really going to enjoy this album. They're going to have to wait till your birthday. So that's coming out October 16th. So people need to watch out for that. Coming out on SoundCloud and so many other platforms. Now, your other superpower, aside from songwriting and guitar playing, is reading really fast. Now, there's a question that Dolly always puts for our guests, and the question is, what's your superpower? And you said your superpower is that you can read really fast. And we said, you know what? Let's put that to the test. Let's put Nikki on the spot here and see if she can actually, see if she can come up with the goods.
Well, you know, what I meant was I can read silently really fast. That's like the only thing in life that I can do fast.
Yeah.
Which you can attest to. If I try to do something quick, my motor skills, they just go haywire. It's I'm just not built that way. But I can read fast. But if I read out loud and with my contact lenses, so crappier vision, we'll see. I'll probably, you know, fall down to very human levels.
Well, we can skip it if you like. It's up to you.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Awesome. Because we can all say we can read silently. Like, you know, I can. Well, let's have a look. So I just happen to have a book here. Let me see. Silently. Oh, yeah. I just read that.
No, but you know.
You just didn't notice because I did it silently.
Yeah, that's true. But he knows. I mean, we'll like read,
We'll both be looking at the same piece of paper, and I'll be halfway through it, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, got it."
Oh man, that is so frustrating. Okay, I think I have the same thing in my relationship. We have the same birthday as you guys have the same birthday, but I think we're incompatible when it comes to speed reading. She reads much faster than me. Okay, so if you're up for the challenge, Nikki. If you're up for the challenge, Nikki, I think Dolly's going to put up something for you to read there, and let's see how it turns out.
You're no good heartbreaker. You're a liar and you're a cheat, and I don't know why you let these do these things to me. My friends keep telling me that you ain't no good, but they don't know that I'd leave you if I could. I guess I'm uptight and I stuck like glue, because I never known or loved a man the way that I love you. Some time ago I thought you would run out of fools, but I was so wrong. You got one that you never lose. The way you treat me is a shame. How'd you hurt me so bad? Baby, you know I'm the best thing that you ever had. Kiss me once again. Don't you never say we're through. Because I never loved a man the way that I loved you.
Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, I think probably Elle Sompres, who we had earlier, probably would have been maybe able to keep up with you there, because she is
with a radio background
and also love of music and lyrics. Wow, that was really excellent. Thank you so much, Nikki. Nikki, we've run out of time, but if you would, and maybe if Rich cares to join you on this, if you could play us one more song, but if not, if I'm putting you on the spot, that's absolutely. Do you have one more you want to play?
It's up to you.
Wow, I haven't prepped it.
Well, you know what? I will say
back into
is
these live streams, a little bit. Like I said, I've been doing like a lot of guitar practice. So
yep.
Yeah, kind of got back into the live streams with like these 3 tunes.
Well, we can find you on one of those live streams then. When is your next one?
It's going to be, I believe it's September 8th. They're going to be, you can visit my website, nikkioneil.com, and I'm going to post them there, because I recently got those. I know there's 2 coming up in September.
Well, you know what? We shall see if we can tune in for those instead. And thank you so much for being with us tonight and for playing those songs. And you guys are just a delight to talk to and to listen to. And we really appreciate your spending the time with us on Songs and Sit Downs.
Thank you so much. It was a total pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, it's great talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Nikki. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you again soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Owen.
So that was Nikki O'Neill. And thank you so much, Nikki, and also to Rich for chatting with us and for bringing us your music this evening and for giving us that speed reading demonstration, which was pretty impressive. I don't think I could ever do it that fast. If you'd like to hear more of Nikki's music, you can visit nikkioneil.com, where you can also find information about her upcoming album, due for release in October 2020, on her birthday, as I said, and also Rich's birthday, and that's through Blackbird record label, which is an indie label in LA run by Mando Mosher and Eric Craig. Also check out her guitar lesson channel on True Fire called Twang, Soul, and Rock and Roll. And she also wrote a rock guitar instruction book called Women's Road to Rock Guitar. That's out on Alfred Music, so check that out. Now, as we've said before, all tips help support our musical artists and our hardworking team involved in putting on the show each week, so feel free to contribute if you feel the urge. But as always, we're most grateful that you took the time to be with us here this evening. I just want to tell you a little bit about upcoming shows. Next Monday, that's Monday, August 31st at 7 p.m., we're back with Songs and Sit Downs with Owen Dara, that's me. And our guests are going to be Virginia Williams and Joe Normal. Virginia Williams is a very successful actress who's currently in a Netflix series called Teenage Bounty Hunters. And let me tell you, I watched the whole 10 episodes because I just wanted to watch the pilot and ended up watching the whole 10 episodes, and it's fantastic. And she is fantastic in it. Very interesting person from Memphis, Tennessee. We'll be chatting with her. And then we have Joe Normal, who's our musical guest, who's had a long career in music, playing rock, also acoustic sets. He last year shared the stage with Mr. Bruce Springsteen, and so I definitely want to talk to him about that and hear some of his live original music. So he's going to be chatting with us next week. It's going to be a great show. Then Saturday, September 5th at 7 p.m., live, a tribute to Emmett Rhodes, and that's hosted by Terry Paul Rowland, and that's featuring special guests. And if you haven't heard of Emmett Rhodes, he is known as the one-man Beatles. Extremely very, very talented singer-songwriter and musician. And so they're doing a tribute to him. I think that's going to be a great show. Then Sunday, September 6th at 10 a.m., Matt Bunson is back with his 10 at 10. He's going to be doing 10 songs, and it's going to be pop hits from 1967 to 1973. And that's always good to check out. And we'll also be looking at doing our second Sunday songwriter series, and that's going to happen on September 13th at 6:30 p.m. and that's a showcase, and you can submit those songs at divinerebelmusic.com/showcase, and the deadline to submit is September 10th. Now, there's an optional theme, which is colors. If you want to submit a song that's got something to do with colors, you can do that. And I should also mention, I believe next week we're planning to premiere Pat Nason's video for his new song, and that is going to be really great on Songs and Sit Downs. The song is called A Long Night Coming. It's from the album Here and Now, and it's produced by our very own JJ Shock, and it's going to be featuring some of the finest musicians in the business in Los Angeles. We are taking somewhat of a hiatus. In fact, we are taking a hiatus from Songs and Sit Downs in September. So next week will be our last show for a while. Then we're coming back in October. So we're going to take a little break. We figure after 18 shows in a row, we'll take September off. But in September, we have the shows that we already mentioned, including I'll be hosting the second Sunday Songwriter Series at 6:30 in the second Sunday of September. So do join me and all of the other songwriters for that. We want to thank everybody who's involved in the show, who made this show possible. Thank you, Dolly, JJ, Jessica, and a big thank you to our special guest, Elle Sompres, and to our wonderful musical guest, Nikki O'Neill, accompanied by our excellent percussionist, Rick Lakowski. I got to say that right. Rick Lakowski. I hope I'm saying that right. It was an absolute pleasure having all of our guests on the show this evening. And of course, we'd like to extend a big thank you to you, our audience, for tuning in. We're going to leave you now with our video of the week. It's by Chris Pierce, who's performing in this video for a wonderful organization called Playing for Change. And as I'm sure many of you already know, Playing for Change is an international movement created to inspire and connect the world, basically, through music, which, what's better than that? The idea of this project came from a common belief that music has the power to break down boundaries and overcome distances between people. And boy, do we need that as much as we ever did. We'll be playing that in just a moment, but before we do, we'd like to thank you once again so much for being with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next Monday with another episode of Songs and Sit Downs. Till then, stay safe and be kind. The song is called It's Been Burning for a While. This is Chris Pierce.
Woke up this morning, saw that smoke up in the sky. A crowd of people watching, asking who and how and why. Flames are rolling down the city, rolling for a mile. How'd it get so bad, you ask? It's been burning for a while. You say it's in the eye of the beholder. Well, I'll just go and check. Now there ain't no chip up on my shoulder. That's your boot up on my neck. How these flames go so far, you ask? Now they've gone 1,000 miles. I got a news flash for you. They've been burning for a while. It's been burning for a while down here. Glad you stopped to see. And ain't no water gonna douse it down until you hear from me. You say it's in the eye of the beholder. Well, I'll just go and check. Now there ain't no chip up on my shoulder. That's your boot up on my neck. They say it's in the eye of the beholder. Well, I'll just go and check. Now there ain't no chip up on my shoulder. Let your boot up on my neck. Ah, it's been burning for a while. 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 It's been burning for a while down here. Glad you stopped to see. Ain't no water gonna douse you.
Right now we're focused on Black Lives because right now I can be outside jogging with my dog in the morning and get shot. That's not right. That's why Black Lives Matter and that's why we're out here today.